Hi everyone. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to let you know that today will be our season finale of Beside the Palm. It's hard to believe that we've already been at this for 8 weeks. After today, we're going to take a 2-week break and we'll come back on July 17th for season 2 and a whole new round of interviews. In the meantime, I'd encourage you to please go online and like and subscribe to St. Luke's Music and Fine Arts on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, without further ado, please sit back and enjoy Beside the Palm.
Beside the Palm, episode 8.
Except this time I get to talk first. Welcome to Beside the Palm, episode 8. The interviewer has become the interviewee. Welcome, Jim Roman. I wasn't sure if you were going to be on your porch today, so I wanted to make sure that I was also beside a palm. This is my feeble attempt at a palm, but I think it works. Plus, it's not poking me in the head, so that's an added bonus. And I'm trying to be as authentic as possible. I've got my iPad here. I don't have a fancy digital pencil thing like you do, but we're going to get as close as we can.
You're doing good.
Go ahead.
You're doing good so far.
Thank
and
you.
Grace earlier was like, I think it's going to rain all afternoon. You really probably should do it inside. And I was like, no, I have done every episode outside. I will be outside for this episode.
There's no changing it. There's no changing it. I imagine, so I remember being 15 years old and getting behind the steering wheel for the first time and just wishing that the steering wheel were on the other side, because that's where I felt comfortable and I knew that I could steer and stay between the lines from there. So maybe you're feeling a little bit like you've just switched sides, Jim. That's okay.
Very much.
I'm here for you. So the good news is you have these questions basically memorized. So a lot of these, you know what's coming. So we'll start with the first one. Maybe you've already thought about this. So tell us how long you've been at St. Luke's and how you came to be at St. Luke's.
Yes, this one I can answer. It's the other questions that I forgot to think about ahead of time that I'm paranoid about. So I've been at St. Luke's for just over 2 years now. 2 years this month, actually. Like forget what we figured out what it was in the past episode, like the 4th or 5th. And what's the rest of the question? I always...
And how did you come to be?
Oh.
You wandered in one day and somebody was like, do you do anything special? Let's give you a job.
Yeah. See, now it is like driving. It's like the first time you have to drive somewhere on your own. You're like, I've been doing this route for 20 years, but my mom's always driven me. I never paid attention how to get here. So, yeah, I got to St. Luke's in an interesting way. I had been in another large church in Houston, and they were going through some financial issues and laid off a whole bunch of staff members, of which I was one of the lucky ones. And that came as kind of a surprise. I mean, I knew there were some issues, but I didn't expect layoffs that soon. And Grace and I just got married not that long ago, so we were like, oh, great, this is going to be fun, because she had just moved down to Houston. So we didn't really know what I was going to do. And this was, I think, the week after Easter of 2018, if I'm remembering correctly. So, yeah, I was, pretty packed for a little while, just wasn't sure what the next steps would be. And then one day, out of the blue, I still remember I was sitting at my office, and I think I missed the phone, and I got a voicemail from this guy named Rob Landis, who I had met once in passing and just sort of knew who he was around town. And he said that, a little birdie told me that you might be looking for a job, and, would you be interested in coming to St. Luke's maybe to have a chat? And my heart just started like fluttering, because I knew known of St. Luke's because just the music reputation in town. And I was like, yes, please. I called back. And so I think that following week we had arranged an interview. Well, it wasn't supposed to be an interview. It was just come by the church, we'll chat. And so I came by dressed pretty much actually like how I'm dressed now, which I'm actually in jeans, believe it or not, and just a button-down shirt, probably wasn't even tucked in or anything. And Rob showed me around and he played the organ for me, and you know, we got along and it seemed like a great place to be. He's like, I'd love to have you just meet Sid real fast. I was like, oh, okay. So sure enough, I'm in Sid's office and the three of us chatted for a while, and then he's like, I'll let you guys talk for a little bit. And then I think I left Sid's office about 4 hours later. This was, I think, after Grace had texted me a couple of times, like, hello, are you alive? Because I was expecting a kind of quick, you know, in and out type thing. And I pretty much walked out with a job offer that day. And I think a month later I started. I think there was like a 1 week gap between my jobs. So I didn't even have you know, I think I missed a paycheck. So it was a really great set of circumstances, all things considered.
It's amazing. Yeah, I know firsthand that Sid's couch can be kind of like a time vortex. You just sort of, you go in there and you sit down, and then all of a sudden it's dark outside and I have to go pick up my kids or something. And I don't imagine that organist positions open up all that often. So if you have one, that's a great place to be. And if you're looking for one, maybe kind of a scarier place to be.
Well, and that was one of the really generous things on St. Luke's part, because the position was actually for a part-time associate organist. And I had told Rob, I said, you know, I would love to work here and I'd love to, you know, be a part of this place, but I really need a full-time job, unfortunately. And well, not unfortunately, I just did. And he said that, well, he's like, you know, there's always opportunities around here. Maybe we can see if we can work something out. And we did. Yeah, they, you know, I think Rob or Sid went to Teresa Robertson, who was our CFO at the time, and they needed some help, just some admin help in finance. And I said, I mean, I can do that. So I was sort of part-time, I am sort of part-time finance. All that's even sort of shifted now, more just general admin for Jennifer Bubel, our chief of staff. So I, like several others at St. Luke's, I am part-time in 2 different departments, but it's been great. It's a really nice kind of balance of things.
Yeah, we all share very unique job descriptions, not to mention display case extraordinaire. Newly.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that much lately because it's not something that's really...
It's a little stale, Jim. You might want to freshen that glass case up. All 9 people who see it a day are...
Let it be known that I have had words with outreach in the last several weeks that, like, guys, this is still like a Christmas/Easter display. Like, what have you guys been doing these past couple months? Can we please, you know, do something about this display?
Nobody knows. So how does someone choose the organ as their primary instrument? And this question kind of has 2 parts. Because the other question is, and do you play any other instruments? Obviously piano, maybe a little accordion, maybe some hammer dulcimer, maybe bagpipe. So how do you choose organ as your primary instrument?
Well, I didn't really intend it to go that way. I had started taking piano lessons when I was 5 because my mom had always wanted to take piano lessons. And for 1 year, my dad for Valentine's Day, I think, got her a small upright piano. And so she had started taking these group lessons at the local high school. And I was really little, so I had to go with her when she went to those. And I think I just started picking things up. And we always say the turning moment was when at one point in the class, the teacher asked her adult class, like, a question. And I was the only one that put my hand up because I knew the answer. And shortly after that, I started taking piano lessons. And so for a long time, I wanted to be like a concert pianist. Like, that was the dream. Like, the world needs another piano player.
Yeah.
And around 6th grade, I had joined a church choir for reasons that I still don't quite remember. I just, for some reason, did. That seems like something odd for me to want to do, but I did.
Probably voluntold in 6th grade. Yeah.
I what?
You were probably voluntold. That's what happens to 6th grade.
I think it was my idea. I think I had a friend in the choir who kind of roped me in, and sort of how at St. Luke's, our choir sang next to the organ there. So we had a balcony up in the back of the church where the organ was, and my seat was right next to the organ bench. And so since I played piano for a number of years, I kind of knew what was going on. And I just loved to watch our organist play, and eventually asked him for lessons. And it was always funny because he would say, oh, well, one day if you want to audition for, a college program in organ, you should learn to play this piece, or you should learn to do this. And I would just kind of like roll my eyes and laugh, like, sure, like I'm never going to do that. And then it kind of came around to a time to apply for colleges. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not too bad at this. And I really like church music, and maybe I'll try that out. Here we are.
Here we are, indeed. Beside the palm. Who knew?
Yeah, exactly. It all led to this moment.
So I guess piano to organ, sort of a natural progression. Do you play any other instruments besides keyboard instruments?
No, nothing that I want to, at least that I would claim that have any proficiency in. I dabble, like every 2 years, I have a little ocarina that I like to pull out. That was something I did at the very beginning of this quarantine. I sat out on this porch and I played my ocarina a little bit. I owned a violin at one point. I never took a lesson. I wanted to learn, but balancing piano and organ lessons was like enough. I had enough notes to learn, and I was like, I can't take on another. And I was going to self-teach, but I just never did.
Violins take up a little bit less space than organs do too. So.
They do, and you can take them around with you.
You can take your paper organ around with you.
That's true, I can. It's a shame it doesn't really work, but I can take it.
That is a shame. Okay, so what is, another organ question, last one. What is something surrounding the organ, or sort of the organ culture, I suppose, that's your favorite thing? So is it performing? Is it you just love playing in worship on Sundays? Do you love teaching, or do you compose? Do you have a favorite kind of organ activity?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, Penny, hey, sorry, she's actively eating our dead flowers.
I'm just glad we still have canine talent, because there are no in my office.
Yeah, I mean, it really just, I'm not sure I could pick one. I mean, I love playing in worship services because mainly I love accompanying choirs. That's just playing the organ can be such a lonely thing, spending hours at a time in a practice room or an empty sanctuary practicing all by yourself. So it's nice to have such that unique kind of choral bonding experience. And like I remember I told Jeff Hoover after one of my first Sundays playing for the 11 o'clock service when Rob was out, I love playing for the processional at St. Luke's. That's so thrilling to like hear this wall of sound as the choir processes up the aisle, and the congregation singing alongside. It's just such a cool feeling. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's really like my one favorite, because I compose a little bit. I'm actually working on a little organ piece right now, which happens about once a year. But performing is so cool too, because I love going around to like every organ in every venue or church is unique. So each organ is unique, and they are built accustomed to the room that they're in. So I mean, like playing in a huge cathedral and hearing that acoustic or something. I mean, it's just
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you've been producing a lot. I mean, Sid always says that the St. Luke's organ is being played more now than it has in forever, maybe ever. And you're doing a number of things. You're on Facebook all the time. What kinds of things are you producing on Facebook?
So yeah, so I started shortly after the quarantine went into effect, my PipeVisions program, which is sort of a weekly concert series, about 30 minutes or less. And each week I focus on a different theme or topic of music. So I've done spirituals, I've done hymn-based arrangements, I've done stuff based on mythology. I have one about space themed music coming up that I'm excited about. So that's been a really just kind of fun opportunity for me to explore music that I would never get to play in a worship setting, and also something that I might not want to necessarily dedicate a whole hour-long concert to. So it's fun to kind of have these little mini projects. But that's sort of been an arm of my overall organ outreach project that I'm trying to develop alongside with Rob. We started last fall the Pipe Works series, which is more educational and inviting people to see how the organ works and hear it and see it in action in a way that they would normally get to, whether that's just an up-close personal view of us playing, or them getting a chance to play it, or actually going inside of the organ to see that it's not just that one row of pipes, and there's actually about 2 stories of, thousands of pipes back there. So this PipeVisions is sort of another component of that. And we do have plans to take the Pipe Works aspect online as well soon. I'll do some kind of mini videos focusing on different aspects of how the organ works.
Well, I know I've learned a lot about the organ since meeting you, because I can hear the organ from my office. So I'll hear you playing and I'll think, I don't really want to be working right now. I want to go bug Jim, and I'll just go, what does this do? And this is neat. But it's been really cool to see how versatile an instrument the organ is. It makes sounds that I didn't even know you could make with the organ, which is super fascinating. So we've talked a lot about the organ because that's kind of what you do. Outside of the organ music, what is your favorite music? And let me say the caveat of I've recently learned that you have a deep affinity for disco, and I need to know why.
She's sitting on the couch right here. Are there other kinds of music besides organ? I'm not really aware of any.
Just disco.
Just disco, yeah. I really am a nerd in that I really do listen to mostly classical music, whether that's organ or choral. Those are really the main 2. I actually really love, this sounds bad because I don't, I listen to pop music, but I usually just put it on in the car as a way to tune out everything. So it's just on in the background.
I've been in your car before, and what was playing at a not low volume was EDM. And for our viewers who are not sure what EDM is, electronic dance music. Mm-hmm. I did not expect to hear that riding in your car.
So I do like EDM, and people will probably roll their eyes or laugh when they hear why, because a lot of popular songs I always think I would like if people weren't singing. So I love all the background stuff that's going on. So EDM is mostly that. There's not much singing. It's just mostly the background beat. And I'm like, this is great. I can stick it on and kind of, go with it.
There's not some long, dark history with Miami clubs or anything that you...
None at all. And surprisingly, and this is a project maybe this would be a PipeVisions concert. There's a surprising amount of EDM that would actually work well on the organ.
I was thinking that. I've heard you jam out to some, I don't know what you call it, flashy stuff.
There's one Deadmau5 track that works really well in the organ. Right this second, that's what it is. We'll put that in the link. People can listen to that. That actually works really well in the organ. So EDM, choral, organ. Disco was a phase that I went through in 5th grade, 6th grade. And there is a story to that, actually. And you probably don't know this. Grace probably doesn't even know this. Did you ever see the Rugrats Go to Paris movie? Is that it? Rugrats Go to Paris?
I watched a lot of Rugrats as a kid. Not sure I ever saw a feature-length film.
Yeah, I think there was a couple, but I think it was the Rugrats Go to Paris. And there's a scene where, is it Stu and Dee Dee? Is that the parents' names?
It's been a hot 25 years.
So in the movie, they go out to some like dance club, and they've got disco playing, and I can't remember if it was like an actual disco song or like something that was written for the movie. I'd have to go back and listen, and you know, it was like that typical with the whole attire and the whole like, yeah, the disco moves. That's the most anybody will ever see me dance right there.
It's amazing.
And
Never recorded.
yeah, and I just loved it. Like, this is great. So it was a snowball effect of me going online, and like, not online at the time. No, I went out like to Target, I think, and bought, it was a CD and it was called 100% Disco. I can still see it. I think I still have it somewhere. And it was like, you know, top 10, 20 hits. And I mean, ask my mom, I just played it on loop on my old, like, you know, what did you call them? The
Discman?
Were they yeah, I don't know, whatever the CD ones were.
Yeah. You had to lay them flat because if you went over a bump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Archaic. Thank you for sharing. They were children. I don't know why they were in Paris. That's so dangerous. What are your 5 favorite things right now, Jim?
I have been saying for weeks now, I'm like, I need to have 5 things ready for this when it's my turn, and then I forgot. Okay, 5 favorite things.
You can go back and change your answers. This isn't going in the display case for 3 months.
That's true. I could have Grace edit these out, and then I could just do a little video insert. Well, I really do love the PipeVisions thing. That has been really fun for me and a rewarding project. If anything, just not even for the music I'm getting to learn, but I've been able to learn so much about audio and video editing in doing that, because I do it all myself. And that's a skill that I really had no experience with before this, like whatsoever. I've had a digital audio recorder that's been gathering dust on my desk for, 10 years, and I've never used it. And all of a sudden now I use it almost every day. So that's one thing. So that's sort of 2, just the skills I've been getting with that. Penny is always one of my favorite things. She's always here.
Canine.
We've loved. I know we've loved involving her in all these projects. So
it wouldn't be BT without Penny.
It wouldn't be. She's our little church dog. We bring her to church every now and then, still, even when no one's there, and she runs around to the offices looking for all of her, work buddies. So
if your mom ever dies, it could be beside the Penny.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. This has been one of my favorite things too, beside the palm. I mean, this has just been so much fun to. I mean, I'm terrible on camera, and I hate listening to the sound of my own voice, and I hate talking to people. But here we are. This is.
I like the sound, especially the way that you say carrot.
The way I say what?
Carrot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Carrot.
I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to give you that satisfaction. So okay, beside the palm, Penny, PipeVisions. Honestly, just like time has been nice. Even though we've been really busy, it's been nice to just sort of work at our own pace. And, if I just need to take like a 30-minute break and watch an episode of The Office, I can do that. And, it doesn't have any effect on anything. So yeah, time has been a really nice luxury lately. I'll kind of be, I think, sad to go back to a regular work schedule where I have to be at work all day.
We got one more.
5th one is always the hardest. And I feel like I've had good ones come in mind, like these past couple weeks, like I need to remember to say that, and then I don't. I mean, just music, always. Music at St. Luke's especially, just kind of one of the...
anything brand new you've been listening to or you just recently discovered?
Well, I mean, I've been enjoying listening to some of the suggestions that all of you have been suggesting on these. I always listen to them myself after we go back. So actually, you knew this, but Grace and I watched The Village last night as you inspired us from your interview last week. I've been really enjoying all of the music that has been being written as a result of everything that's going on. There are several composers writing. It's sort of this project that's been growing called Quarantine Miniatures or variations of that. And one composer here in Houston, Mark Buller. There's another composer, I think he's in Florida, Matthew Kennedy, have been writing 1 or 2 miniatures every single day for any instrumentation and for anybody who wants them. And so you literally just comment on their Facebook thing that's like, I want one, and they'll add you to your list. And so I've had 2 or 3 of those written now. And it's just so cool because Matthew Kennedy, his project, he's on his book 3 now of these. He's on second or third book, yeah. And he does his prompt for the piece, and they're all like 30 seconds or less, is your name, where you live, and it's like, when I did it, it was your favorite drink, and that's what he bases the music on. And right now it's your favorite animal, and they're just these, like, this never would have happened if it weren't as a result of this. And it's cool because all the proceeds from these books that he's publishing are going to go to different charities and relief funds. So that's been really kind of fun to see all this music being built up, and then to see all the virtual performances that happen, because we can't really do live performances of them right now. So I'm really eager to, on the other side of this, see performances of all the music that's been written now.
We have all this record of this music that's written throughout history for different historical events, and I think sometimes being in it, it's so hard to grasp that we are in this historical event, and that eventually it will be just this thing of history. And what kind of art are we producing that helps us remember that? And it's good to know that in many different aspects that's being produced everywhere and shared. So much of that is, like you said, proceeds are being donated, or people are sharing it for free, or whatnot. So it sounds like it's music kind of for the greater good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure we sing in choir all the time that we don't realize was written during a plague or pandemic that was going on. And it's hard we don't really think about the context of that all the time, but it'll be interesting to see, in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, music that was written now and how it's viewed.
For sure. Good. So I know for my part, having been in this position for just less than a year, I left a huge baking void when my predecessor, Norlin, left. In fact, I think I mostly got staff questions about like what I was going to be bringing to these meetings, and everybody was very disappointed at first, but I think that their cholesterol levels have leveled out enough. But in our music and fine art meetings, you and Rob do a pretty solid job of keeping us full of insulin and lethargy, just being really unproductive on Tuesday afternoons with all of your lovely concoctions. So do you have, as a prolific baker, do you have a favorite dish that you like to bake, and then a favorite dish, whether you bake it or not, that's just like your favorite thing to eat?
Mm-hmm. I'd like to argue first that music and fine arts doesn't run on lethargy and, all that. I like to think that we're always running on the sugar high, and that's why we get so much done.
For like an hour after that meeting, knock it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make a really great pineapple upside down cake that I'm particularly fond of. I think I made that for our very first snack night for choir here. So that's usually at the top of my list. I also have I love oatmeal raisin cookies. They're my favorite. I have a great recipe for those. Sid practically, passes out from excitement when I make them because he's a fellow oatmeal raisin lover. That was something that Rob and I bonded over earlier on, that we both bake. So it's nice that we can both rely on each other to fill in for weeks when we're not feeling up to it.
Indeed, we all thank you for that.
And I would like people to know that we all do have access to Norlin's brownie recipe. You could pick that up at any time.
It is a true thing that you say.
Yeah. And as far as, what was it, a dish that I just like?
Yeah, just like your favorite baked dish or baked good, whether you make it or somebody else makes it.
Oh, that's really tough because I feel like I walk into a bakery and I'm just like, I will have one of each, please.
One of the plates.
Yeah. It is really good. Grace mentioned it in hers, but her chocolate Texas sheet cake is unparalleled. And I have to admit, because I know we had some comments on this, I actually prefer it without pecans on it. I just like the smooth chocolate icing. So, especially when it's warm and some ice cream and a glass of milk, all you need.
You do ice cream and milk?
Well, usually the milk is after the fact.
Yeah, just let it sit for a little while and it'll be
Yeah.
the best milk you've ever had.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a little bit of this from Grace's episode about how you guys met and kind of her perception of that meet cute, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And she would say things like, I'm sure we were like super annoying to him or something. So I would like to hear from your perspective. What was your impression of Grace and how you guys first met and how this whole love story started?
Yeah, let me just check how to turn the recording off for a second here, and then I'll tell you.
No way, man. Permanent.
Yeah, so Grace sort of told the story, but to review, we met at college, or in graduate school. I had at Westminster Choir College. I had gone there for undergrad already, so and stayed on for graduate school. Oh my God, why is Sid here?
Surprise!
Oh God, this is the kind of stuff I was afraid of.
Excellent.
This is just like when we're working together in the office, you guys, and Sid's just minding his own business in his office, and we all are piling in one at a time.
I'm not gonna lie, I panicked because when he came up, because he always uses the fine arts account, it's Grace's photo that comes up. I thought Grace was getting on, which now I'm afraid that she might be any minute.
You know, I want you to know you're going to see this anyway.
I know, but it's just worse when she's staring at me.
Okay, so you were saying graduate school.
Sorry, Sid, do you need something? Can we help you? Or
Yeah, I have a question for you, but I'll let you finish this one.
Great. I'm afraid I know what it is. So Grace and I met at graduate school, and I can't stop laughing because he's staring at me. Yes, choose my words wisely. We met at a graduate orientation thing, which I hadn't been going to most of them because I'd already been at the school for 4 years and I was pretty well oriented. So, but this one night was for ice cream, and I was like, sure. They were going to my favorite ice cream place, which was the right in downtown Princeton there, Halo Pub, just like the best ice cream in Princeton. And so I tagged along, and there were these two girls, Grace and Olivia, that were just high energy. And those that know me, not so much high energy. And as she said, they seem never to have met a Jim before and really latched onto that name. And we're like, Jim, your name's Jim, right? I was like, yes, it's Jim. Yes, we've established that. So I had kind of immediately decided we're probably not going to be in the same friend group, And I think Grace and I ended up being in a class together and a choir together. We both sang in Williamson voices. And, we just ended up chatting in class, and I would message her and distract her in our music history class. And it was all sort of downhill from there, so.
Yes, that's how they usually put it when they're in love.
Yeah.
Okay, Sid, you have a question for Jim.
I do have a question. So, you're pretty much known for being anti-Broadway within a community of people like Tina Throckmorton and Brad Blunt and Natalie Nassar and Grace Roman and me, among others. So my question deals with, and this probably will come as no surprise to you, your one and only favorite Broadway musical, Mamma Mia. So can you explain that unique choice to our viewing audience? Could it be that you're secretly attracted to Scandinavians, or you have white suit envy or something?
Oh, I mean, I'm not, it's no secret. I mean, who's not attracted to Scandinavians? They're all just beautiful. There is a story here, actually, and I'm not sure if I've actually told you this. So my Aunt Mary, who I've always been close with, lives up in the Pocono Mountains, and she actually loves musicals and Broadway, loves them, goes to see them all the time. And I used to go and stay with her for about a week or two every summer. And she could always take me to go, we'd go to plays, or they had like a little local playhouse we go to shows at, and just all sorts of stuff. And one summer there was a run of Mamma Mia, and I forget where it was. I don't know if it was in New York or what. And she took me, and I may have enjoyed it. And that's all there is to it.
So it really has to do with actually attending a musical.
Yes, it did.
Okay, just checking. Okay, that's it for me for a moment.
Oh, great. I think that's it. I think that's enough.
We've got everybody's favorite time here, which is the lightning round.
Whoa. That is not what we call it.
The rapid fire round.
God, get it right. If you're going to do my job, at least,
You're not exactly in a position to do this.
Also, I am the interviewer. The interviewee doesn't get to say that.
I'm still recording. I can turn this off at any moment.
This is my show. Sort of. I'm beside the palm. Okay. Rap. What do you call it? There's only like so many things that you can call this.
I'm just saying, this is a palm.
Pretty soon we're going to have to call it a mini series.
That's
so
like
we should wrap this up.
This is the season finale. We could go for 2 hours. It's a special.
I mean, back-to-back episodes. This is like when you'd get the VHS tapes and there were 2 of them, and you'd have to take one out. This is putting a second VHS
We'll
out.
pause and put a paywall right here.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are your palms sweaty this week? Here we go.
How have I not made that joke yet? Oh, that's cool. Yes.
3, 2, 1, begin. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
What color is your toothbrush?
Green.
What's your favorite key signature?
Oh, God. D flat.
Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Milk chocolate.
Most hated food?
Peppers. Mushrooms.
Favorite adult beverage?
Bourbon.
Jim or James?
Jim.
Comedy or horror film?
Horror.
Chick-fil-A or Cane's?
Chick-fil-A. Sorry, Sid.
Giving presents or getting presents?
Oh, getting.
Middle name?
Joseph.
Grace's middle name?
Elizabeth.
Baked or fried?
Baked.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
Favorite U.S. city?
Philadelphia.
When you fly on a plane, do you lean your seat back?
No.
Polka dots or stripes?
Stripes.
Time. Well, it is time, I promise. The countdown stopped, but I was on Do Not Disturb. So we got to 18, so. That's pretty good.
But Grace still wins.
I wasted too much time on the key signature. Wow.
You really did. You kind of balked, Jim.
I really did. That was like your pizza topping debacle.
And then you picked D flat after all of that toil.
I know, and I don't even think that's it.
Well, there's no changing now, Jim. You're set. You're done. You're washed up.
Especially, I don't even know why I picked a major key. I'm much more partial to minor keys. That was just stupid.
That figures.
Do we even know you anymore?
No.
All right, so Sid, we need to wrap this up. He's right. So he has one more question.
Okay, it's a sort of our typical last question, except I'm going to change it slightly. What is the one song or piece you would have our listeners go look up right after watching this interview, and it can't be an organ piece?
That's still okay, because that doesn't change my answer.
Okay.
Although it's probably longer than most organ pieces, so you may regret that. The third Rachmaninoff piano concerto. That is like what?
The whole thing.
Yeah, but at least the first movement. If you have to pick, no, the whole thing. For the whole thing. Yeah, that's sort of the piece that like got me into classical music and inspired a career in music. That was sort of a turning point. All thanks to the movie Shine, if you haven't seen it.
I have seen it.
I have not.
Rock 3, I've seen it.
The Rock 3. But you have to listen to Martha Argerich's recording.
Grace will link that up.
Yes.
Okay, well, my friend, I'm glad that we got to surprise you, make you sweat a little bit, even more than the humidity in Houston.
Oh yeah, I was nervous. I was afraid like all past interviewers would come on or something throughout once it started coming on, and you were all going to interrogate me.
That also would have been fun, but just harder to, organize. So this was way more fun. So Jim, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your talents and loves with us. I feel like we should call this episode Jim Tells All because of the number of times you said, I don't think I've ever told you this, or I don't think I've ever said this.
Yeah.
This is, we now know you.
Just spilling my guts here. Except we still don't know my favorite key signature, so.
It's true. To be determined. Thank you for joining us today, my friend.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
Sid. Bye.